All right. Welcome back to the Excuse Me Brother podcast show. I'm your host, Brother Jay. And tonight, it's a solo episode, y'all. It's a solo episode. Okay? It's just me tonight. It's only me for the next 45 minutes, an hour. Fortunately, Brother Jay, Producer Jay, I should say, and Brother Tay are not here. They're both unavailable, so it's on me tonight to keep the show going. This is a very rare occasion for us. We normally don't do solo episodes, but this time it's necessary because neither one of them were available, so it's on me to keep everything going. I think this is only the fourth solo episode that we've done out of about approximately 80 episodes. I know I've done one before where I went over the Kyrie Irving situation. Brother Tay did one where he went over personal boundaries in relationships and friendships and in jobs and things of that nature. And then Producer Jay did one where he spoke of, some of the entertainment that had been released, his reviews on certain entertainment projects that had come out within the past year. I think he did one about, what was it? What was that show? The Last of Us. I think he did one about Loki, and I think he just reviewed certain of the recent projects that he was watching, some of the games that he was playing, some of those things. But yeah, this is a solo episode tonight, so we try to keep it. I'm trying to keep it simple for y'all. I'm gonna try to, do my best, because usually, we try to keep it at having at least two hosts. Like last week's episode was Brother Tay and Producer Jay, and the previous week it was Producer Jay and myself. We try to keep it at least two, and that's one of the reasons we hired Producer Jay, because if one of us is not available, you still have a decent you still have a good rotation or a good combination of hosts that we can still put out a good show, right? Producer Jay and I have done shows together where Brother Tay was not there, and then Producer Jay and then Brother Tay have done shows with themselves that they've released. Remember last summer they did a whole thing by themselves. They ran the summer while I was on a quote sabbatical. Let's call it that, a sabbatical. But yeah, we always try to keep it at least two, but in the rare occasions where, more than one person is not available, this is where the solo episodes will come in. So that way we can still push that content for y'all. Okay. So what am I getting into tonight? It's Monday. It's Monday Night Football is on. It's football season. Fall is coming through. Summer is over. Thank God. I hate the summer. And, these new seasons present new challenges for people. And as the seasons change, people's moods change. People fall into, seasonal depression and things of that nature, where it's not the same for them. It's not, people, I don't know why. I genuinely don't know why. Well, I know why, but I don't understand why people love the summer, because they like being outside. The weather's nice, and they get to be, the days are longer, so it's not as dark and gloomy like, during the winter months. And during the winter months, the sun is down by like 4:00, and the nights are cold. The weather's terrible, especially if you live up here in New York. But for me, the summer's just too hot. I hate it. I can't stand it. And in the summer, during the summer thing, people just don't know how to act. People just don't know how to act during the summers. The crime rate goes up during the summers. I don't know if people notice that. I think J. Cole made a bar about that, one of his songs. He was like, I get higher than crime rate in the summertime. No, he said, my mind state is like the crime in the summertime, higher than average, because a lot of cabbage. Yes. The crime rate in the summertime is just through the roof, and it's ridiculous. I can't stand it. Fall is my season. Okay, that crisp, cool weather. We call it sweater weather. You know, give me a Thursday or a Friday with 55, 60 degrees, overcast. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 10-mile-per-hour wind chill. Uh, you know, it don't gotta be overcast, but overcast is nice. And then the fall leaves and the orange and brown and yellow leaves are overtaking the earth, and it's just a beautiful sight. To me, they say that Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year. That's bullshit. I don't believe any of that. All right. First of all, I don't even celebrate Christmas, but they say that because the earth is dead, and a lot of this time there's the lights and Christmas lights and the joys festival occasions. That's where people, it's alluring to the eyes. The bright lights and the festivities, it gets people going. But to me, the fall is the most wonderful time of the year, because it's like the fall to me is like I would say it's like the evening time. And I think it's synonymous with each other. The fall and the evening time, where the sun is going down, the day is coming to a close, and people coming home from work, and having dinner with their families and those things of that nature. To me, those two things are synonymous with each other, and to me, that's what makes it the most wonderful time of the year. Because it's like, when you come home from work and you get to take off all your, everything from the day. If you take a bag to work, you get to drop everything. You get that awesome, finally home feeling, right? To me, that's what fall is like. It's like the earth is like, oh, honey, I'm home. Finally, I'm home. I get to relax. I get to kick back and kick my feet up and watch a Monday night football game. You know what I mean? Like that. It has like a 7 p.m., 8 p.m. feeling. Oof. It has a 7 p.m., 8 p.m. feeling in the fall. And to me, that's enjoyable. The weather is just right. But that's actually not what I wanted to get into tonight. That's actually, I just went off on a tangent real fast. I hope y'all don't mind, because like I said, I cannot stand the summer. I look forward to the fall every year. In fact, if we could skip summer, I would gladly appreciate it. But anyway, I bring up the seasons because, like I said, different seasons bring different challenges for people. And, these challenges help navigate you through life and through your experiences, what you're going to go through, help you prepare for what's to come in your life. And I have to admit that there have been a lot of times where, this seasons have been challenging, particularly for me, because, it's mostly been professional challenges. And a lot of times these professional challenges wind up influencing the way that I navigate the rest of my life. And I don't like when certain aspects of my life cross over. I don't like it when certain parts of my reality starts blending together to the point where I can't, where I lose control, or I lose certain parts of my grip on that part of my life. And my professional life has been a little challenging recently, but the beauty in it all is that I get to take it all in stride, and it's just going to help me navigate through the rest of my life, especially my professional life. But the beautiful thing about our professional challenges is that, especially as millennials, is that there's so many more options than before, that we don't have to take abuse. Like, as millennials, we are more than willing to change our career paths if what I'm experiencing right now at work is not sufficient. If it doesn't suffice, then we will do whatever we have to do to make necessary changes. And I like that about being a millennial. There's very few things I do like about being a millennial, but one of the things that I do appreciate about the millennial age is that we do not sit still and we will not stay at a job if we feel disrespected, if we feel ostracized, if we feel that we're not getting what we came here for. We will be up and out. We will leave. Okay, we will quit to quit a job, especially during this time of COVID and everything. Oh no, we are out. We will leave expeditiously. And I think that's a good thing for us. And I like it because the generations before us, they will be willing to stay at a job that was abusing them. And I'm just like, why would y'all do that? And it was because there weren't that many opportunities back then as there are now. These new industries pop up every day, especially with the increase in the use of technology. There are people, there's going to have to be people that make these things. Now, AI would probably have a say in that, but there are more opportunities now than there were 50, 60 years ago. And, we're more than willing to pivot and change careers if necessary. Now, that's not to say that I've been looking to change my career, but it's always an option. It is always an option for me. Listen, I have a college degree. I don't have to stay in one spot if I don't feel that I have to. There are plenty of other people. In fact, there are plenty of people on my job who have stayed longer than necessary because of the money situation, because of whatever reason. They stayed through the abuse. They stayed through the contract negotiations. They've stayed through everything. There are guys who have done multiple years of service. There's been guys who've stayed through injuries. There are guys who have stayed through all kinds of things. And it's just like, why? Why would you do that? Let me tell you about a story of mine that, something I experienced, I want to say about some time ago. I don't want to date it. That made me really start to think differently about the way that my job or my career, the way that we do things. So for those who don't know, I'm no longer a supervisor at the New York City Transit Authority, right? And I don't want to get into the details of why that is, but those who are in the know, they know. If you know me outside of this podcast, if you know me in my personal life, you know what happened, why I'm no longer a supervisor. I don't want to get into it because it's still an experience that I'm still dealing with, and especially since there is a small chance that I can return to being a supervisor, that I just don't want to get into it. But let me just run y'all like a few quick pointers about why, like the way the Transit Authority does things. So at the worker level, there is a format where we essentially pick where we want to work based off of seniority, right? We, like the majority of the transit workforce is through civil service, right? Your train operators, your bus drivers, your station agents, your track workers, signal maintainers, station cleaners and the like. If you see them, face to face every day, more than likely they are a civil service employee, and we make up the majority of the workforce. And when we report to work, so to speak, it is because we picked that location to work, right? Now, different departments do it in different formats. They do it through different means. And it has different parameters. So, like, for example, a train operator. No, I won't use train operators. A station agent, right, which you would call a token booth clerk. They pick more. Their picks are more deliberate, right? So they'll pick a location, they'll pick a tour of duty, they'll pick their days off, and they pick their vacation weeks all in one, like all separately, right? For us in the track department, it's all in one. The location, the days off, the tour of duty is all inclusive. Okay, so if you're picking a location to work at, you will be picking that location. You'll be staying there for the time of the pick, right? Unless you bid out, right? And of course, it's all based on seniority. So the guys who've been on the job longer, they get to pick first, right? Of course, you gain seniority through time served, through your service record, and the like. So, but there are certain times when you get to take a pre-pick position. And this is one of those situations where I'm going to go into this a little bit. Before our general picks, right? Before our general picks, there's an opportunity to bid for pre-pick positions, which is, you have to go through an interview process. And if that's the case, you won't pick. You'll just go into that new location where, when the changeover occurs after the general pick has been completed. Now, when I came back from being a supervisor, I went back into the title of being a track inspector. Anybody who knows me knows what a track inspector is. If you don't know, a track inspector is an individual. It's a specialist position that's kind of different from just a normal or regular track worker, where you are assigned a certain section of track on the line, and you have to physically walk the track from station to station, inspect it, and you have to find the non-conformities on the roadbed. So if the rails are messed up, the gauge of the track is messed up, if there are defective fasteners, you walk on the track, you find these things, and you report it on a form that is handed to supervision. That's how they schedule the maintenance work. Okay, so if you ever on the track, or if you're riding the train and you see men, or you see workers on the subway tracks doing work, it's because we schedule that maintenance work via the track inspector. Supervisors do it sometimes too. They'll do an inspection every now and then. But what I did was, this time I wanted to become one of the video car inspectors. And during this, the video car inspector transit has these special trains that that run in certain areas of the mainline tracks that has a video on it, like a camera that takes video feed or records video of the tracks. And sometimes they'll pick up defects too. Okay, they'll pick up non-conformities, they'll pick up rail defects, surfacing defects. They'll take gauge measurements, alignment measurements, elevation, to make sure that the track is safe for trains to run on. That's the ultimate point of it all, to ensure that the tracks are safe for revenue service, for passenger service. If we have a defective track, we can't run a train on it. Okay. And a lot of people get pissed off because they think that, we're just doing this just because. No, we do this because, the infrastructure of the New York City Transit, the subway is over 120 years old. Well, it's almost 120 years old, I should say. Okay, the MTA was formed in 1904 when it was the three separate railroad companies. All right. And, this infrastructure is old and it's in disrepair. So it takes work to maintain, especially since we run service literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay. It's going to fall into disrepair. So it falls on us as, the track workers and the supervisors who guide us and who supervise us. It falls on us to keep the subway in good standing according to the FRA. Okay, because if something happens, guess what? We can literally go to prison for this. If there's unfortunately, there's a derailment where it causes passenger injury, we can literally serve jail time for this. Okay, these inspection forms that we sign and report to supervision, they are federal documents that can be used against us in case if something were to happen. It's happened before. It happens. I won't say it happens a lot, but when certain things happen, there has to be an accountability. So, the video car is made to supplement the physical track inspector, okay, to pick up on things that they either cannot see or things that they're unable to identify, because it has more tools at its disposal. Okay, it has I think it has ultrasonic sound waves on it. It can literally take receive kind of like sonar, so to speak, or they'll send sound waves through the track, and then the sound that comes back, it can create a reading that allows us to determine, okay, we have an issue in this particular spot right here, right? So I actually applied for one of these positions because I had been a track inspector for a while. To be a track inspector, you need to undergo specialized training to be certified to do it, okay? Because it's not like you can just come off the track and be a track inspector. You can't even just come off the street and be a track inspector. No, you have to receive training for this. It's a big deal, okay? It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of work, and some sections are longer than others. Like you could have a section that's on the 2 line from, let's say, Times Square down to Chambers Street. That's just an example, you know what I mean? Or Times Square down to 14th or whatever it is. So it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of a lot goes into it. So the video car inspector was something that I was really interested in because, one, I have to do so many years of service. I have to do so many years of service, and it's a lot on the body. Okay. This work that we do on the track is labor intensive. It's dangerous. Number one. Okay. Of all things, it's dangerous. A lot of times we work under traffic. Okay. A lot of times we work with heavy machinery. We work with tools, power tools. Sometimes we work, and then of course, last but not least, we work next to the third rail. Now, all y'all who ride the train know that the third rail is the rail that can kill you. It carries electricity. Okay. I think it carries 600 DC volts. I could be wrong. I gotta check the math on that. But either way, I applied for this position because it was essentially the same thing that I was doing, physically walking the track. I said, now I'm going to be looking at video feed, and it was going to be easy on the body because it was going to be an office job. Okay, I'll be looking at a computer, and I'll be watching video feeds, picking up defects. I'm not going to be physically on the track, during embracing the elements, I walk with a wrench. Oh, when you're a track inspector, you walk with a wrench, a giant wrench. It's like maybe 3 feet long. Okay, and it's encased in rubber because it has to be insulated. Because like I said before, we work next to and around the third rail, so we have to be protected. So you have to carry a sledgehammer too, so that way you can make small repairs when you're on the track. And a lot of times these sections, like I said before, they're very long. It's in all kinds of tracks. Sometimes you're walking on the structure. Sometimes you'll be walking in the subway on concrete. Other times you'll be walking in ballast. Now, if ballast is like those rocks that you'll see, sometimes you'll see the track it has a bunch of rocks in it. I want to say like at the station, like a station that everybody knows. Okay, like Prospect Park in Brooklyn, on the B and the Q. I think it's the B and the Q at Prospect Park. Though that track has ballast. Or if you ride the N line in Brooklyn, where you see rocks everywhere, that track is in ballast, and a lot of times it can be very damaging on the body. It can be very hard on the body. So I was going to do this because I wanted to, since I gotta do all this time, I was like, let me take not a break, but I gotta pace myself, because there are guys who are on this job, like I said before, who have been here for 20 years, 25 years, and their bodies are broken. And I mean broken, like they are in some serious pain. They've had injuries, they've had surgeries, they've had all these things happen to them. And I'm like, nah, not gonna be me. You know what I mean? I will take care of myself as I navigate this journey through my career here with the Transit Authority. And I'm like, so I thought this would be a good opportunity for me. And especially because I'm like, I want to be able to understand different parts of the process of how this company does business when it operates, when it tries to conduct maintenance in the subway. You know what I mean? So what I wanted to do was I wanted to, take the position, and I actually had to interview for it. So when I got to the interview, I knew the guy in charge, one of the main guys that are over the department. I know one of them. And one of my guys that I've worked with before, he had definitely recommended me. He was like, look, I think you should do it. I think you'll be good at it. I think, you'll probably get it too, but you just got to interview for it. Well, if you pass the interview, you'll be fine. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll do it. So I went to the interview, right? I did the interview maybe, I forgot when it was. Like I said, I don't want to date myself. I got a haircut the day before. I showed up to work, in some slacks, button-up tie, a vest, and everybody's looking at me like, where are you going? I'm like, oh, I gotta go for my interview. I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, you look nice, good luck, probably get it, yada yada, blah blah blah. The interview was down at one of our satellite offices in Brooklyn, right? So I left my current work location. I left there as soon as I signed in to work. You know what I mean? Because the interview was at like 9:30, and I know, we all know how the subway is. We know that, delays are just part of the process. It's just what happens. We know. So I left on time, and I still made it late to the interview. I'm like, yo, you gotta be kidding me. So I take the 5 train. If I gotta go into the city, I'll take the 5 before I take the 2. I hate 2 line with a passion. I despise it. It's long. It's ghetto. It's disgusting. I worked on the 2 line, the majority of my career, really. I've worked on the 7. I've worked on the 2. I've worked on the 4. I've worked on the D. But the 2 line has been like I said, the 2 line has been the majority of my career, and it's my home line. I despise it too. I will choose to take the 5 any day of the week. This time the 5 train failed me, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I took this train because it was quicker. You know, riding Lexington Avenue is a lot easier because it's a straight shot as opposed to going through the Lenox line and then the 7th Avenue line. There's more stops. So I'm just like, let me take the 5. I'll be good. And bro, the 5 train had delays going down by Wall Street. And I'm just like, so I emailed the guy. I called him first. I'm lying. I called him at Brooklyn Bridge. They stopped our train at Brooklyn Bridge and sent it back, right? So I'm like, yo, what's going on here, right? So I call him and I'm like, listen, I'm at Brooklyn Bridge right now and I'll be there as soon as I can. He didn't answer me, so I left a voicemail. I got to the office in Brooklyn like at 9:35 and he emails me and he's like, are you still coming for the interview, as I'm walking to the office where the interview is being held. So I pull up, I'm like, listen guys, I'm sorry, the train, it was delays, that kind of thing. So they knew what was up. They're like, don't worry about it, we good. The interview went pretty well. The interview went pretty decently. I thought I aced it. They showed me pictures of certain parts of the track. They like identify the nonconformities here. I'm like, okay, I did that. They asked me, certain situational questions. How would you do in this? What would you do in that situation? How's your experience here? Are you okay with being in the office majority of the day? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I'm good. I've worked in the office before. This ain't nothing. So I did that. And, I thought that I had the job immediately. I thought, I was like, you know what? This is good. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna get this job. I'm gonna get this position. I'll be in Brooklyn almost every day. That was the one drawback about the job that I didn't like, was that, I gotta be in Brooklyn at 6 a.m. Now, anybody who knows me knows I repeat, am not a morning person. I don't want to be up at the crack of dawn working for nobody. You know what I mean? So you feel me? Like, if I gotta be up before the sun is up, I am not a happy person. No amount of coffee, no amount of food, no. Okay, I'm not a morning person. Working at 6 a.m. I mean, working is ghetto to me, period. Like, having to work, exchange my labor to receive compensation, to me, the concept just does not, it just does not compute. But working at the crack of dawn, nah, bro, no, But to me, the positives outweighed all of that, okay? That's why I chose it, because if I had gotten the job, I would have to be up 4 o'clock in the morning every weekday, Monday through Friday. And I'm just like, I'm not feeling that, because Sunday nights I like to chill. You know what I'm saying? I like to do things. If I want to go out, I can. But at the same time, it's like, I got to be in bed at 8 p.m. on a Sunday night. Who wants to do that? Who wants to do that? Like, no, nah, son. Nah, I'm not with that at all. So I'm waiting for the interview results. And what had happened was he sends me the email saying, we thank you for, interviewing with us. We thought you did really well. But unfortunately, we had to go with another candidate. And this is what really got me, right? And this is where I want to give this man his due diligence, but I also don't want to out him. What he said was, if you want, you can ask specific questions about your feedback. If you want to know, what exactly why we chose to go with another candidate and how we came to our ultimate decision, you can ask. And the reason why that struck with me is because usually that doesn't happen. There have been plenty of times where, and some of y'all can attest to this, where you've applied for a job, you got the interview, and then they chose to go with somebody else, and they didn't tell you why. And that stuff is actually discouraging. It's like, why? Well, what was the reason? Why did I not interview well? Did I not? Were my answers wrong? Is it not what you were looking for? Is it because I had coffee stains on my shirt? Like, what's going on? Why did you not choose me? But this man actually gave me the opportunity to ask, okay, what happened? And he said, well, we thought that you were great. Like, you answered every question that in a satisfactory manner. You identified all the defects in the pictures that we gave you. And, you were generally nice, great to talk to. We thought you did well. The reason why we went with this other guy is because he has full rate experience, both days and nights. Now, when I mean by full rate experience, when it comes to being a track inspector, you can be the full rate track inspector, meaning you do the job full time, or you're the dual rate track inspector, which means you are qualified to do the inspection, but there are times when you're not doing the inspection, you'll be a regular track worker, or you will flag for the track inspector, right? When that means that you'll be getting paid at two different rates. Dual rate. That's what it means by dual rate. You'll be paid two different rates. You'll be getting your regular pay as a regular track worker, depending on your seniority and where you are in the collective bargaining agreement. Your wages will be applied as such. But when you are performing the specialist job, in this case track inspection, which you are qualified for, remember I said you had to do the you had to do the training. When you perform the track inspection in place of another of the full rate track inspector, you will receive that specialist pay, which is, obviously a little bit higher than the regular track worker pay. The person that they chose, the person that they chose was or has been a full rate track inspector, meaning he's actually been in that full rate title where he did the inspection every day. I was never a full rate track inspector. I've only been a dual rate track inspector. I've been a dual rate track inspector now 3 times. Okay. 2 separate stints before on different lines. This is my 3rd time doing it. And the man that they chose, I know him well. And to be completely honest, when he said that, I was a little disappointed, but when he said who they gave it to and the reason why they said that they gave it to him, I was like, okay, you know what? That is a fair, and actually smart choice to make. Okay? Because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go with the more experienced and qualified individual instead of just choosing your boy. You know what I mean? So a lot of nepotism that goes on in these companies, and a lot of nepotism that goes on in corporate America, and people are stuck wondering, okay, well, why didn't I get the position? It was because we chose our boy, we chose our friend, and we can't say that to you. You know what I mean? And it's like, in this situation, obviously that didn't happen, so I couldn't be mad. And you know what? I'm not mad. I'm like, okay, well, it is what it is. And like I said, I know the guy. He's actually very good at the job. In fact, I helped train him. Okay. I'll tell you a quick story. Like I said, before I used to work on the 7 line. In fact, when I first started working for transit, I went to work on the 7 line. I loved it over there. And if it wasn't so far, I would probably continue to work there. I loved the people that I worked with. I loved the supervision. The location were pretty decent. The line itself is actually pretty good because they've modernized the 7 line in a way that makes it easy to do work. And it's just overall a good place to work. The Bronx is a little different. Okay, it's It's not better, it's not worse, it's just different. You got to get used to the way things are done in certain places. So when this individual came and started working with us, you know, I had already been on a job for like maybe 7, 8 months. I don't remember exactly how long. So I had my bearings already. I used to be afraid of heights. Working for transit has kind of cured that because I work, on the elevator structure, and we have some high stations that we've had to work on. It just is what it is. Excuse me. It just is what it is. So when a lot of guys come out of OJT, they have to gain their footing a little bit, so to speak, because they're not used to being this high. They're not used to being up here like this. And he was one of these guys. Okay, he was one of them. And I remember when his first day on the job, right? We were working by Willets Point, by Citi Field. And I was walking on the track to the job site, and we had to cross over. We had to cross the track. And he was like, yo, I'm scared. I'm like, what do you mean you're scared? He was like, bro, I'm like literally scared to cross. So I did what I had to. I was like, you know what? Come on. I literally just stuck my hand out. I was like, yo, come on. He was like, are you for real? I'm like, yes. This is if it's gonna help you get across the track, come on. I'm not afraid to. I'm like, listen, if this is gonna help you get across the track, then bro, come on, let's go. Let's do this. You know what I mean? And he stuck his hand out, and he took my hand, and I helped him literally walk across the track, because if you look between the wooden ties, there's space, obviously. That, I mean, you can, I've never seen it, but it's possible for you to fall into the street. It is possible if you're not careful. And a lot of guys, they get scared because, they think they're going to fall into the street. They think that the gap is that big that they can fall into the street. And I'm just like, it's not impossible, but it's highly unlikely. I mean, you barely hear stories about workers falling into the street through the ties. It's happened before, of course, but it barely happens. It rarely happens. Okay. So I literally had to help him cross the track by holding his hand. And I'm like, you know what? It happens. I'm not gonna belittle you. I'm not gonna insult you. I'm not gonna make fun of you because you were afraid to cross the track. It's happened to all of us. Okay. There are some workers who've spent their entire careers working overnight in the subway because they're afraid of working on the structure. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and belittle you, because there are guys, like I said, there are guys down who will rather work in the subway tunnels, breathing in all that steel dust, working around all that dust and, asbestos and all that other stuff, messing up their quality of life because they're afraid of the structure. So it doesn't surprise me that this young man got the job. It doesn't madden me. It doesn't upset me. Like I said, I was disappointed because I didn't get it. I thought I did a good enough job and that I earned it, but they went with the more qualified candidate, which I cannot be upset with. And I'm just like, you know what? I just hold my L. I just hold the L, because I'm not. It won't make me feel any better sitting around being upset. It won't make me feel better sitting around wondering, well, damn, why didn't they choose me? I thought I was good. I'm better than this dude. I'm not. Clearly, I was not the better candidate. I was not the wiser choice. As good as I was, this is how it should be. Okay? But that won't stop me from making the next move. It won't stop me from, trying to advance anywhere else. It's still possible that I can probably do something else. And who knows what God had for me. Maybe there was something down there in Brooklyn that I wasn't supposed to see. Something that would have caused me to make a big mistake in my career. Something that would have that could have happened to me commuting to work. You know, there's been there could be a lot of things, a lot of reasons why that I'm not thinking of in, above a higher plane in the natural sense that, this job just, it escaped me. No, I don't think like that anymore. I think that, everything is either a blessing or a lesson. The lesson for me is everything's not for you. Okay. Everything's not for my favor. And it doesn't have to be. Just because I want it and I think I should have it doesn't mean that I'm going to get it. But it won't, like I said, it won't stop me from trying again. It won't stop me from trying something different. It won't stop me from doing anything that I can to advance myself, to make my professional life a little better. And I'm actually proud of myself because I didn't let this scenario spill over to everywhere else like I've done in the past. You know what I'm saying? Remember I said at the beginning that I don't like it when certain parts of my life start to spill over into other. I'm pretty good at keeping things in their proper lane. Like, essentially what I'm saying is I don't bring home work with me. I mean, I don't bring work to my house. Whatever happens at the job, I leave at the job. Ain't got nothing to do with what's going on over here at home. Ain't got nothing to do with what's going on in my ministry life. It ain't got nothing to do with none of that. So I don't let it spill over, and vice versa. I don't let what's going on at home affect what's going on at work. And I don't let what's going on at the church or whatever have you affect my job or you know what I mean? So it is what it is. I'm pretty sure that the Lord will have something different for me at that time when the time is right. And this is where I got to show a little gratitude, where it's like, well, you missed out on this one, but if you had gotten this one, it could prevent you from going somewhere else. What if you get there and you don't like it? Now you're locked in. You have to stay there. I don't know if I mentioned this, but there was a lock-in title where I have to do 3 years. I can't go anywhere else. If I had gotten that job, I could not go anywhere else unless I got promoted, unless I got terminated, unless I went on medical leave, or I resigned from the position, so to speak. Now, what if I got there and I hated it? What if I hated the people I was working with? What if I, hated the commute, which I knew I would have because commuting is ghetto. And what if I got there and I got into a fight with somebody? You know what I mean? Now, downtown Brooklyn is crazy. You know what I'm saying? There's some niggas down there. Downtown Brooklyn ain't all peaches and creams. It's some ratchetness and ghetto-ness going on down there. Now, what if I got myself involved in any of that? Trying to get to work, coming home from work. I mean, it could still happen either way, but it's like, why, that's how I look at it. And I hope that you guys, people who are listening, when you face these challenges in your professional lives, I hope that y'all see the silver lining. It's like, okay, instead of looking at the reasons why you didn't get it or why, certain things are not going the way that you thought or ways that you wish they would, start thinking about the reasons why it's going to work out for you in your favor. Because it's like, you don't know what you're avoiding. You don't know what part of your life, like maybe it just wasn't the right fit for you. Maybe it just wasn't the best thing for your life right now. Maybe the Lord has something different for you. Maybe it's just that simple. It's like, I wanted to go here, but you know what? I think God got something better in a better spot with better hours, better pay, better people to work for. It's not going to be as damaging to your mental health. You're not going to be under as much pressure. So these are the things that, when those doors close, listen, life is full of hallways. The house of life is always full. It's full of hallways, and hallways have more than one door. Okay, these doors, it ain't just one door in the hallway. There's a bunch of different doors that lead to different rooms. Listen, go knock on one of those doors, see what they got. All right, this door closed. Is the bathroom's occupied? Okay, well, I'm gonna go to the other bathroom in the house if there is one. Or I'll just go sit in the living room for a while until whoever's in the bathroom comes out. You know what I mean? Oh, this bedroom's taken. Okay, I'm gonna go sleep in the other bedroom. So I hope that you guys, take my story, take my testimony, and just take it for what it was. Hopefully you get something out of it. I'm gonna get on out of here, y'all. It's been a pleasure to do this solo episode. Hopefully Brother Tame, Producer Jay, will be back. But, maybe we'll do more solo episodes in the future. Like I said, these are pretty rare occasions, but it was necessary to keep the show going. We're pushing out that content. So if you want to follow us, you can reach us at these socials. The Excuse Me Brother podcast. If you want to find us on Instagram, it's excuse_me_brother with an A, because it's not racist, because Tay made it. If you're watching us on YouTube, then you already know what the YouTube is. If you want to follow us on TikTok, Excuse Me Brother with an ER, because it is racist, because Jeremy made it. And the Facebook is excuse_me_brother, because I made it. So apparently it's got to be racist because I made it. Okay, and that. Hope you guys hope you enjoyed the show. Hope y'all had a good one. And we'll be back with more. Keep listening, folks. Good night.